Hello, I'm here. Welcome to the Get to Know broadcast. We have a special guest this evening. He's actually a dear friend of mine. His name is Guy Brilando. Very successful gentleman. He's one of my mentors. I really truly love him and his wife. He's given me a lot of information in the past to be able to learn and to grow and just become a better person. And that's why I do these videos, is because I do them for myself. I hope that you enjoy it, because the whole point is, let's learn from the people that have been successful so that we can apply those principles to our life, so that right, we could be more successful ourselves. That's the whole idea, right? I hope you're having a good day. I've got Guy in the studio here. I'm about to bring him in, and I'd like you to give him a warm welcome. Hello, Guy.
Hello, Stephen.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me this evening. Um,
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome. I mean, I am blessed to be able to know you personally. That's really a benefit. You were on this show several years ago. I brought the show back, and we're bringing it to you folks. And we certainly appreciate your time and taking the effort to listen to us. And this show is going out on E360 TV. It's going to be on my website as well. You can certainly watch it on my website. Um, I created this website so that you can get information about what I'm doing. I have the LWN, that is a not for profit 501c3, and you can always go back there and watch it, if you can't watch the whole thing right now, but do stay to the end, because you're going to miss something if you just turn it off, all right? All right, so, Guy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, there's a lot to tell, actually. I'm 62 years. I've gotten to live a pretty full life, and I've been very grateful and blessed as a result of all that. My wife and I have been married, I don't know, 33 years, I guess it is now, 30 going on 34. And we live here in Keystone, Colorado. So just love it. The overall background is I grew up in Chicago area. So anybody that's from the Chicago area that may be tuning in, hello. I'm a huge Blackhawks fan, Chicago Blackhawks, as well as the Cubbies. So a lot of people want to know, when you're from Chicago, are you a Sox or Cubbies fan? I'm a Cubbies. I grew up on the north side there. So, and I spent a lot of time just trying to figure out life and what I wanted from life. At 21, I changed careers, or career path, I should say. I've been studying to become a physicist and astrophysicist, because my first love was always the stars. And into my third year of the sciences, it got to be a little bit too much for my brain. And I fell into flying the year prior. And so I transferred schools at 21, went down to Daytona Beach, Florida, which I know you're in Florida there, Stephen. And started my career as a professional pilot, joined the ROTC. Again, I was looking for something, and I didn't know what it was. And I fell into the Reserve Officer Training Corps there at Riddle, which happened to be the largest all-volunteer ROTC detachment in the country. And I just fell in love with it. I found my calling, and eventually became the cadet commander there. Graduated with pretty well, and got my first choice of going to Euro-NATO Joint Jet Fighter Pilot Training, and that is in Wichita Falls, Texas. NJET is what it's called, is where they send the elite, the best prospects, if you will, from the U.S., as well as the different NATO countries, to get the very best training in the pilot, become a fighter pilot. So you're pretty much guaranteed a fighter out of that school, which is one of the big benefits of going there. And if you didn't get a fighter, then you had screwed up somewhere along the way. All right. So I went there, I excelled. I got my first choice, which was an F-16. Actually, I don't often do this, but I brought the model because a lot of people don't even know what that is. So this is what I flew. It's kind of hard to see there.
Wow.
Oh, this is what I flew. There you go.
Yeah.
For 20 years is what I got to fly that for.
Didn't you? Now, you got shot down, didn't you?
Not shot down. I did have to eject. That happened in my first assignment over in Korea. I was there for a year and a half, and about I don't know, about 14 months into it or so, I had an engine failure. Basically, I had to get out. And so that was quite an experience. Yeah, and then from Korea, I went to Germany, and that's where I met and married my wife. She's actually a German national, but she has her dual citizenship now, so she's also a U.S. citizen, which is great. And then we went to Italy, and then from Italy, so I was overseas for 8 years straight. It's a long time. Yep. And you come back to the States, which we eventually did back in '97, and we went to Phoenix. So I was in Phoenix. We were in Phoenix for 23 years, a long time in Phoenix, but 10 years in the military there. And as a schoolhouse teaching people how to fly the F-16. So I had a very blessed military career, retired as a lieutenant colonel there. Lots of amazing experiences. Saw some action, over 200 combat hours as well there. But what I really enjoyed the most was teaching. I love teaching the new kids how to fly the F-16 and how to get the most out of it and put them on their own career path.
That's wild. F-16, I remember they were flying those out of El Toro, Southern California, which doesn't exist, I guess, anymore.
No.
But man, that was one heck of a jet, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's still flying, and they're not making them anymore, I don't think. The foreign countries, they were still making them after the U.S. stopped buying them for some of the foreign countries, but I don't think there's any production. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think there is right now. But they're still flying them. I mean, the planes that I flew are still flying. It's a relic, and they just keep extending the life of it. One of the things that made it really special is the concept of they were able to upgrade it as technology evolved. And it's one of the first airplanes to ever be able to do that, and they've been able to prove it, and it's still got great value out there in the world, even though there's better fighters now, of course.
And then you went on to fly commercial planes.
That's correct. So I got out of the military. The airlines industry was never my ultimate goal, if you will. It is for a lot of people that go into flying. They want to get on with commercial airline. I mean, they pay pretty darn good, and the work hours are pretty grand. I mean, it's an amazing industry, but it just wasn't a goal of mine. But I got nearing the end of my career, and a friend of mine gave me some very wise advice. And at that time, Southwest Airlines, you had to get your own type rating, which is you have to spend about $8,000 in order to do this, because they didn't spend that money on their pilots. They wanted people coming there with it already. It was one of the ways that Southwest was able to grow so well and become a major force that it is today. So it's a lot of money, right? I mean, you're getting out of the military, you don't have a job, and now you're going to go drop $8,000 on the certificates, basically, to be able to go try to get hired with Southwest. So I was having this conversation with my friend. His name's Bob. And I'm like, Bob, I don't know what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. I think I want to go corporate, blah, this or that. And he goes, you know what? If I was you, and this guy is very successful, self-made millionaire, and he goes, if I was you, I would go ahead and get the type rating, because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And that is a philosophy I took away from that phone call that I've utilized multiple times throughout the rest of my life from that point forward. So I went and got it and got hired by Southwest, and so the one worked out very well.
Excellent. Yeah, it was really cool. I like Southwest. I'm going to hope to fly on that plane someday again. I just haven't flown.
It's a good airline. I mean, they've gone through their own trials, and Herb Keller, who really built the airline, he didn't start it, but he built it into the magnificent airline it once was. I think it's changed a lot. He was replaced by somebody else that came in with a whole different philosophy. But Gary, he came in with this philosophy of it's your number one employee, or excuse me, your number one customer is your employee. And that was his philosophy. So he bent over backwards, making sure the employees were happy. They wanted to be there. They felt fulfilled. They felt wanted. They felt needed. They felt like they had a purpose. And that is how he built that company. And, he's got a book, excuse me, a book that's, he was written about him, excuse me. And when you read Good to Great, which is another great book out there about businesses, it's in that book as well.
Well, I know that you wrote a book too.
The philosophy of how important it is to take care of your employees. How many employees out there right now feel valued? And do they feel like, well, the company's just in it for the money and they don't care about me, the individual? That was a complete 180 with Southwest. Southwest allowed people to have a part, to partake, to free think out there on the line. Hey, this is what needs to be done. And we are given full reign to be able to do that. When Gary was replaced, that was no longer the case. And it became more of a corporation, more taking care of the shareholders than it was about the employees. And it's shown in some of the trials and tribulations that Southwest has had. Excuse me.
You're all right.
Got a tickle in the throat here.
Bless you. I was like, I thought about that. Do I need a cup of water myself? And so I didn't get it. I just been running all day, and I guess you know about hard work and what it takes to achieve the success that you have. So why don't you tell us about what you did after you decided that you could retire from Southwest Airlines, because you're living up in Colorado now, enjoying the good life, I think.
Yeah, we are.
You go out in nature, and that's really awesome too. I just love nature and how grounding that it is. So tell us about your journey when you changed over from Southwest. What did you do then?
Well, while I was still with Southwest, well, actually, as I mentioned, it came back to the States. I was still in the military for 10 years. And my wife, oh boy, my wife is a physical therapist, but she's German European trained. They wouldn't honor her credentials when she got here, so she was working as a massage therapist for a chiropractor, and then doing massages on the side for people in the neighborhood and that. And this couple that she was doing massages for in the evenings, she came home one day and she's like, I don't know what these people do. They don't work. They got all kinds of money. They don't have jobs. They got all kinds of money. They got all kinds of free time. And she's like, she couldn't figure it out. Well, they happen to be in this industry called network marketing, and they were promoting a health product. And my wife started using it. I started using it. We both noticed a positive change. My wife started selling it to other massage clients, making this other lady money. And this lady's like, well, this is a business opportunity. And I was like, no way. That's one of those things. I don't have anything to do with it. And this went back and forth for quite a while, maybe a couple months. And finally I said, okay, fine. I just threw up my hands more to just shut them all up. I went and looked at this opportunity, and I was absolutely blown away because nobody had ever shown me what leverage was. For me, my dad was very successful as an engineer. I grew up with a job mentality. I only had jobs. I never understood what it meant to be an entrepreneur, what it meant to be in business for yourself, what it meant to be able to create leverage. In other words, in a job, you do so much and you get paid on what you do. And if you don't do it, you don't get paid, basically, right? But as an entrepreneur, when you're leveraging yourself, different ways to leverage. You can leverage your money, right, and investments, and have your money working for you. You can also start a business, and you hire employees, and then those employees are working while you're not. One of the greatest analogies, because a lot of people just don't understand this concept, is real estate. In real estate, you got your real estate agent that maybe you work with a real estate agent to purchase your house, apartment, condo, whatever it might be. But that real estate agent is working for a broker. And that broker has many real estate agents working underneath them. And so those real estate agents are the ones out there doing the work. They're the ones working with the person that's going to buy the house and all that. But the broker has the office. They spend money on advertising, what might not be. But the real estate agent is the one that's doing the work. All right, quote unquote, the work. So the broker is leveraged through all his different real estate agents. The larger the brokerage, the more real estate agents he has out there, or she has out there, that are making sales. Every time there's a sale made, the broker gets a percentage of that. So the broker's leveraged, the real estate agent is not. The real estate agent is working a job. The broker, having all these other real estate agent people working underneath them, bringing in the money, then he gets a percentage of that. Okay. So that's kind of the concept. And so anyhow, I saw that leverage with this company, and I dove in. I was all set. Now this was, well over 20 years ago. And I'm going to have to go back to that story to bring you up to answer your question, because I was doing some sort of network marketing during those last 10 years that I was with the military, and then on with Southwest as well. There was a few years that I didn't do any of this network marketing business. And we were impacted because when you don't have a business, you're not driving the economy. So you lose those tax advantages. So in other words, when you have your own business, there's huge tax savings that comes with it. You know, one of the things, Robert Kiyosaki is one of my mentors. He's actually endorsed my book back here as well. And he gave me a little blurb in the front of it. Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know, he says, you got to know the rules of the game that you're in, that you're playing in. Well, your number one expense in life is taxes, period, end dot. A lot of people think it's, you know, maybe the house or healthcare or something like that. No, it's taxes. This government taxes you on everything. And then they tax again, right? So the inheritance tax. So taxes is your number one expense. And you got to understand, you're in the game. If you don't understand how to save money through your taxes, so, you know, not pay as much as you need to in taxes, then you're losing. And when we did not have a network marketing business for those couple of years, we got hit hard. All of a sudden, I realized how beneficial having a business really was. But during those several years off, I was searching. Again, go back to, I finished the military. I was not really looking to go fly for a commercial airline. It wasn't a deep purpose within me. When I was in the military, as I mentioned, when I went to ROTC, I found my purpose in life, and I had a mission. And one of the things people would ask me is, what do you do? I say, I'm a fighter pilot. It's not what I do, it's who I am. And that served me very well because it was my identity, and it kept me alive, where a lot of my friends are no longer here because they died flying the airplane. But when I got to the airlines, it wasn't a purpose. I mean, it was a very important mission that you have as an airline pilot. And for some people, it is their lifelong goal to reach that pinnacle of being a commercial airline pilot. It wasn't for me. So I was lost. And I was finding myself not being happy. And every year I read, in fact, it's upstairs right now because I'm reading it, Think and Grow Rich, because it's an amazing book by Napoleon Hill that is foundational for me. And I was reading it that year, and all of a sudden I realized I did not know what my definitive purpose in life was. I had it when I was in the military. I didn't have it as a commercial airline pilot. And so I felt lost. And long story, but I reacquainted with a person I had met once before. She was very powerful. And I had a feeling that maybe she could give me some guidance that that I was missing. And so my wife and I flew out for an event in California, and by noon I had signed up for several different courses. Her name is Nirka, NirkaInc.com is her organization, and she changed my life. And from all that and attending multiple courses with her, I got my master's certification in NLP, Neuro Linguistics Programming. I started helping other people on the side. I wasn't taking money for it because it really wasn't my objective. But in that course of doing all that, Stephen, what happened is I ended up deciding to write a book about all that.
I got yours too. I got lots of stuff.
I found my purpose. Awesome. I found my purpose again, and it really is about helping people. That's what I believe I was put on this planet for. I'm a connector. I'm a huge connector like you are. I love connecting people with other people. I've helped people make millions of dollars, never saw a cent from it, but I connected people to one another, and I just love helping people. I think there's no greater service to give back as a way of giving back than to help another person elevate their growth in the process of their living. And that's kind of what this book does. It's called Discovering Your Authentic Truth, and it's a book on communication. But it's really about when we get disconnected from who we are. You know, we're born in love, and then life happens. And we have this trial and this thing happens, and the bullying as you're growing up through, school or whatnot. And you have all these challenges. Maybe it's a divorce, maybe it's substance abuse, whatever it is. And you get disconnected from who you truly are, that deep core I am. And what the book is addressing is it's not your fault necessarily, but at some point it's time to take charge of your life. And the book will give you guidance steps on how to be able to do that and reconnect with your authentic self.
That's really awesome. I've been reading through it, and it is really, really impressive. So impressive that, of course, I reached out and wanted to be involved in NLP. And amazingly, I'm saying, I said this stuff, all along, but I didn't put it all together. But the other thing is, I made mistakes in my life. Everybody can, and most people do. And it's about learning from them. And so I just want to say, I know Nirka, and she is really awesome, and learning the ability to really learn myself, because that's what I recognize. I gotta love me and get my mind straight first before I could ever try and help other people even better. And
it's really true. I mean, one of the biggest challenges, and this is what I found during taking some of these courses with Nirka, is that we talk about, you got to love your spouse, so you want to love, this or that, you love your job, whatever it might be, but we forget the importance about loving ourselves. And this is not an ego thing. This is being so comfortable in your own skin that nothing out there can ever bother what's going on inside. In other words, you have a bad day at work. I know what you whatever. Let's say you're a carpet layer, okay, for somebody, and they go to a house and the owner is just complaining, and they're not appreciating your work. You're trying to do the right job, and they're just giving you a hard time. Well, a lot of us will take that personally, right, and get deflated from that. But when you're truly connected with your authentic truth, yourself, your I am, then what they're saying to you, you take it, but you don't internalize it. You don't allow it to drive your own behavior, because that's their behavior. They may be having this bad day, and they're taking it out on you. But if you take that to the core and you go, man, I'm a bad person, man, I'm really doing a lousy job here, blah, 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 even though you're doing your very best, and you allow that to affect you, that's an indicator that there's something else going on deeper inside. But there's a great lesson in the Course of Miracles that states, when you defend, then you are attacked. In other words, if you get into an argument and you're trying to defend your point, but with emotion, you're then allowing that person to attack you. But if you have a conversation with them and you don't get involved in these emotions, then you're not allowing their, whatever they're saying or their emotions to affect you inside. Then you are in harmony with yourself. And that should be the goal for everyone. I mean, look at this political thing we just went through. I mean, people lose friends, people lose family members. They befriend them as family members over all this, abortion or whatever.
I don't like to get,
yeah,
make America great again,
right?
everybody.
So you're in that crowd, and then there's a whole other group of people that I've got good friends that are in another part of the crowd.
That's right.
And it's amazing. I mean, you can get into these high intensity discussions, and some people allow it to really affect them deep inside. Well, if that is happening, then there's something going on inside of you. It's not about them. And what's the beauty? Okay, so what's the advantage of understanding all this? Is that you are in control of your life. Not them, not your parents, not your wife, not anybody, your best friend. No, you are in control of your life. But if you allow others outside there or environmentals to affect you, then you are no longer control. You're giving up control to somebody else or something else. And that's why this is so important.
That's so awesome. I know. I mean, the truth is, I was in the 3-day Manifest Your Destiny with Nerika today.
Okay.
And
great.
It's so awesome. And I've been able to, in the past, because of her, release blocks that I had, and it's really subconscious stuff that was going on with me, and I didn't even know it because it's just there. It's playing this tape. I've always known that subconscious is a tape of our beliefs and the agreements that we've made with ourselves, but it can be changed. And that's the beauty. And so I love her, and that's why I put that up here. You all want to reach out to her if you're interested in this information. I mean, it's really helpful. She is online. Yeah. And she's doing this 3-day right now. Tomorrow's the last day. But you can reach out to her. She's on Facebook.
Going into what you're saying about the subconscious, I mean, that's what really started getting me very involved with all this work. And in this book, I go through my own analogy of a black piano and explaining. I mean, this book is divided into 4 different sections, and it's building as you move along. It's a building block approach, because if I just started going right at it, which some books do, it's going to lose a lot of people. My goal in writing this book was to reach the masses, primarily from high school students onward, to be able to have a better concept of this whole thing we were just talking about the I am. But if you start talking at the most people, you're going to lose them. They're going to go, I don't need that, right? Yeah. So I use a building block approach, and by the time you get to chapter 16, which is page 193 of all these pages in this book, but you get to this page right here, 193, it's talking about awareness. And awareness is everything. And if you don't have awareness, it's impossible to improve. That's why you have coaches. That's why you have mentors, so they can bring to light things that you don't see straightforward on your own. And anyhow, it's an Amazon bestseller. It's done very, very well. It came out in 2017, so 8 years ago now.
Wow.
And it continues to do well. Sales are still going rapid, and I just know it helps people. And if you look at some of the reviews on there, you'll get an idea. It means different things to different people, and to me, that means that this is really a good book.
I think it is a really good. It's so powerful that I haven't read through the whole thing yet, because I just have to take my time, and I've got other books that I'm reading. That's one thing that amazed me about you just before Christmas, and you were saying, "Oh yeah, I read Think and Grow Rich every year, and I've done it for 25 years, and it's like, wow, that's powerful, that you take the time to do that every year, because it's got so much information in there.
And he's got an annual assessment that you can do, a personal assessment in there. And so I take the time to do that assessment. It's really
That's
important.
excellent.
And set my new goals for this year, for the coming year. We
Well,
can't
I
go back
set
and change the
goals.
past because we got full control over what comes forward.
Yes. And I hope everybody out here that might watch this is set goals. And I mean, I did, but then I realized, you know what? I didn't think them all the way through. You know, it was very, I think, superficial. I have basic goals, but it is. How do you feel about writing the information down and getting more serious in depth of, okay, I have this goal. Well, it takes more than just the goal to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said I like reverse engineering, because if you start with the top end result and work your way back down, that'll start giving you then the steps that you would have to take. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how I do my goal setting. I have the vision where I want to be 5 years from now, and then I'll start backing it all the way up to today. I go 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, 6 months, and try to figure out my plan. How am I going to get there? Now, I will be perfectly honest. Up until I started this personal growth path over 20 years ago, so I was already a fighter pilot. I had never really done that. I started out in school to become a physicist, astrophysicist. I never really thought it out, and it didn't happen, right? I fell into ROTC. What changed was this one word that Napoleon Hill talks a lot about in that book, and that's desire. And if you don't have a burning, white-hot desire, then it's a wish. And in order to turn that wish into something that manifests, there has to be that desire behind it. The belief, the desire, there's a lot of other factors, but the number one, according to Napoleon Hill, is desire. So now how do you got this goal that you want to achieve, but maybe you don't have that burning desire behind it to make you, because what has to happen is you have to get up in the morning and go, bam, man, you got this vision so strong in your head that nothing's going to deter you from what you know needs to be accomplished that day. And then you get up the next day and the same thing over again. And you start accumulating all those days together and you eventually get there. There's a great book called The Slight Edge. He talks in great detail about it. Atomic Habits is a more recent book that's going to talk about that kind of stuff as well. And Napoleon Hill, as well, will go into how do you develop that burning desire if you have something you really want, but you're not feeling the desire within you. There is a way, mechanical or a methodical way to be able to do that. Now, Think and Grow Rich is actually an abridged version of The Laws of Success, which is Napoleon Hill's, 3 decades worth of work compiled into a single book. It's big, it's thick, it's heavy, and it will take you a while to get through it. But he goes even to greater detail on all of this in that book. So, but yeah, if you don't have the burning white hot desire, then maybe what you're striving to accomplish isn't the number one thing that you should be accomplishing. Maybe it's not your definitive purpose in life. And you need to do a reassessment. And if that's where you are, again, I encourage you to pick up Think and Grow Rich, because he's going to help lay out the plan for you to help maybe find your definitive purpose. For me, I found it through going through these courses with Nirka, and it changed my life. It really did. Are you still there?
I'm here. I'm with you. I was trying to multitask. I'm not really good at multitasking, I don't think, because I really like to try and take one thing at a time. So I didn't get so prepared, or as prepared as I could have. You're right, though. You're very right. Sealy by Design. You got involved in this multi-level marketing. I happened to find out about it when you were on the show the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about Sealy by Design and how that plays a part in this journey of enjoying life?
Sure. Excuse me. As I mentioned, I fell into this industry through my wife, who was giving these massages to this couple near where we lived there in Phoenix, Arizona. And we joined the company. We started getting involved. She then, in the process of all this, met this gentleman, Brad Hager, and she ended up moving to the company that he was with, and then we followed suit. Over the next couple of years, got to know Brad pretty well and his wife, Marcia, and we built some businesses with them. We never had the really big success. I mean, this gentleman is, created over 20 millionaires. He's had high six-figure incomes. He's a top network marketer in the industry. So what a better person to attach yourself to and start learning the ropes of this industry. So that's what we did. We worked our ways up through the ranks to be able to get to know some of the leaders, and eventually got to become friends with Brad and Marcia Hager. Well, I took that break and I did some other things in between, and we were traveling through Las Vegas where they live, and we called them up and say, hey, what are you guys doing for dinner? And they met us, and totally by chance meeting again, and we had a long dinner. And at that dinner, they started explaining what was happening with their son, who we knew, Devin, and he was having all kinds of challenges, health challenges, because he was born with scoliosis, a real bad curvature of the spine, and they had to do the surgery. And post-op, he was left in all sorts of pain, and they could not find anything natural to help him out with the pain. And eventually, they came across these scientists, there's 4 scientists with a group of 9 PhDs, a collection of 9 PhDs, some really, really smart folks. And they created a new technology the world had never seen before. And because this is brand new, they got a hold of it. They gave it to their son, Devin, and all of a sudden his pain was gone. And they're like, holy cow, there's really something to this. In fact, Devin says to his parents, he goes, I don't know what's in this stuff worked. And they were between companies. They were actually looking for a network marketing company to join. They couldn't find a product that worked for Devin. So they weren't going to just join a company so they could start making money. They had to believe. They had to have the desire, right? That word desire and belief behind what they were selling. Now that they found something, they sat down with these scientists and they struck a deal, and they created a whole new company, which was not their intention. That's what they ended up doing, and they named it Sealy by Design. And they launched it back in June of 2019. We were a part of it from the very beginning, because when we sat down and had this dinner with them, they hadn't actually launched the company yet. So they were telling us, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we found. This is what we're doing. And I didn't know anything about the technology. I didn't care. I didn't know anything about the product. I didn't care. What I knew is that Brad and Marcia Hager don't do something halfway. That if they're going to do something, it's going to be successful. It's just, I mean, I've been around it for 20 years. I knew their track record. And so when the company got started, we got started with them, and it's been unbelievable ever since. And that allowed me to step away from Southwest early. So, it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. That truly is awesome. I really admire what you're doing with your life a lot. I see you now. You're out there skiing. I love skiing. I haven't.
You don't have to teach me about desire and skiing. I mean, that is there, right? It's internal.
Yeah, I got it. I just don't go anymore. So you're in a great place up there. I mean, Colorado. You got big, deep snow, I think, right? Right now.
Yeah, it's snowing out here right now.
Holy cow!
It's been a little skosh lately, but yeah, we get some good snow.
That's so cool. So, how does family fit into your whole picture here?
How does family fit in? I came from a small family. Both my parents are my dad is passed on about 5 years ago. My mom is still alive. She's 94. She's been on this project. This is what it looks like, Sealy Swish. She's been on it for 5 years, and we are convinced it's the one thing that's keeping her alive. It's a pretty amazing product, the testimonies and everything else. Anyhow, so my mom is 94. She's still up there in Chicago. I got a sister, some nieces, and I have a daughter and 2 grandkids as well. They're out in the Philadelphia area. But it's primarily just my wife and I, as far as our immediate family, and we've
Cool.
been very happy together.
Now, how do you feel that your health and your thinking go together to achieve a long lifestyle?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think it goes very underrated. I mean, COVID, I think, taught everybody a big lesson as to the value of health. Because if you don't have your health, what do you got? I mean, you can be a rock star, literally, or you could be an entrepreneur and doing $1 million a month. But if all of a sudden suddenly you lose your health, what does all that mean, right? I mean, look at all the. I
Right.
mean, for instance, look at the rock stars that have great careers, but they died early because they didn't take care of themselves. So you could be taking care of yourself and still lose your health. There's lots of stories out there right now. I mean, we could get into the whole vaccination thing and cardiac arrest and what's going on with the heart and the whole system.
Right.
You don't have your health. What do you have? All the money in the world doesn't matter. All the books that you've written, all the movies that you've made, it doesn't matter if you don't have your health. You can't enjoy your life. You can't enjoy your family. You can't enjoy the next day. So I think it all begins with health. And why not take care of your health on a daily basis? This is not, like for instance, our company is not about medicine, right? This is natural supplements. They're herbs and minerals that come from the earth. And that when the body is fueled with that proper nutrition, it becomes its best pharmacy. It takes care of itself in most cases. In fact, this is our latest product, came out a couple years ago. It's called Ageless, and still to this date, there is nothing else on the marketplace like it. This has got senolytics. If you're not familiar with senolytics, it goes after zombie cells. If you're not familiar with zombie cells, it's what causes cancer. I'm not making a medical claim. Don't get me wrong. This is not going to prevent cancer or anything like that.
Yeah.
All right. This is just a natural food supplement. But the research behind this and what's going on with aging is indisputable. In fact, we've got people that have actually reversed, my wife, myself, have reversed their biological aging as a result of taking this product.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to take care of your health on a daily basis? Because if you don't start with that long term, and that's what these products do, is going to take care of your long-term health, or at least give your body the best shot at it. All right. So now that's the starting spot. And there was a second part of your question. I'm trying to remember what it was. Do you remember?
How do you think the thinking affects?
Oh, the thinking, right?
Yeah, the thinking.
So you have your good health, and this actually will help you think clearer, to remove brain fog. It's going to do a lot of great things for your mental health as well. We've had people get off with their schizophrenia, ADHD, ADD, whatever the other ones are, autism, all different kinds of TBI, traumatic brain injuries. Because again, we're repairing the body, we're helping the body fix itself from the inside. Again, I'm not making a medical claim in there. The other part of it, I think, if I'm going to take a leap of faith here, to be successful or to achieve the goals that you want to achieve in life, not only do you have to have your health, but you also have to have a plan of action. And I am a reader, right? And one of the things that Brad Hager taught me very early on is readers are leaders and leaders are readers. If you want to be successful in life, then you have to start learning from other people that have already traveled where you want to go. So getting the mindset right for success is really important. If you're into gymnastics, read all you can about gymnastics. Read about the coaches that have trained gymnastic coaches or students to Olympic goals or to world-class athletes. That's the kind of the concept. So if you're in business, read around your subject area in business. Read around network marketing if you're in network marketing, or people that have become entrepreneurs. What did they do to be able to be successful? Getting the mind right, and so you can start seeing the vision for yourself more clearly is crucial.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Because thankfully, again, I am sober, completely sober, and that's the feeling is just beyond explanation. It truly is. There's nothing out there, no drugs or no alcohol that made me feel better and that I was successful doing. So when I gave it up, sometimes it can take time to heal from the effects of the things that we do to ourselves. But boy, I just love life now, and it's really enjoyable. And so I'm trying to do the same thing that you do, and that is, well, I know that God wants me to be of service, and so that's what I do. I am of
Right.
service for others, because that's what the Lord intended for me to do. And we have experienced, I think, a lot of different stuff, particularly with the COVID. Certainly, the political arena, alienated each other against each other. Hopefully, that will change in the future, um, because we are a community, are we not? That we need to support our friends and help them when they need help.
And that goes into something else too. You kind of said it throughout that last bit, is the environment that you're in. If you're an alcoholic and you hang around with a whole bunch of alcoholics,
Yeah.
your chance of getting sober ain't too good, right? That's when you go to AA. I mean, you're
Right.
getting around people that understand where you're at, and they've already traveled the path, or a good group of them have, right? The mentors that are within AA, they're going to help lift you, give you the belief, give you the desire to get your life back in order the way you want it. And so your environment, we hear it as kids when we're being raised by our parents. If you're hanging around with a bad crowd, you got chances of ending up being bad or not getting to those goals you want. If you're
Right.
growing up in an environment of entrepreneurs, your chance of becoming an entrepreneur is probably pretty good, right? So you have to be aware of your environment. You take a look at your 5 closest friends, and this is very true, right? You know what I'm about to say here,
I
Stephen.
do.
You take a look at your five closest friends. You add up what they make and divide it by 5, so you get the average of what they make, and you're going to be very close to what you make.
Yeah.
If you
really
want to
awesome.
take it to the next level, say you make $100,000 a year,
Mhm.
excuse me, but you want to get to $500,000 a year, you need to start developing a different network of friends
Right.
that are going to uplift you and guide you in that direction.
Right.
Right.
So that's where
Again, going
mentors.
back to Think and Grow Rich, he talks a lot about the mastermind, right? He's got a chapter devoted to it. And so that's the environment that you're in.
And that is, that's what I certainly had to do, is change the friends.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I mean, you go to a barber shop so long, sooner than later, you're going to get a haircut type thing, right? You know?
I heard that one before, but you're right. Exactly.
That's a new one. But yeah, I mean, that's the case. So surrounding yourself with successful people, one of the things I did was I just went out and tried to make friends, or even just listen to what they had to say with the most successful people I could think of, period. And I believe that that's what Napoleon Hill did, was go out there on the road and started knocking on doors and asking people, what did you do to become successful? And he talked to like 500 different people, and it's no wonder
Tens
that
of thousands.
thousands of people,
He studied 300, but he
Study.
spoke with over 10,000 people.
Wow. It's incredible. I mean, the inspiration, and I love to be inspired in a positive way anymore, because the negative stuff just doesn't, not so much fun. It might seem like it at the time, but it just doesn't get you anywhere.
Well, and look what you're doing here, right? That falls along the same thought process. You've got an audience out there, and maybe they're seeking something, and so you're bringing on people that have already been successful in their own way,
Yeah.
and the people that are tuning in can learn something from that. What's a
Right.
tidbit or a soundbite that you could take away from this interview that could help you grow to the point where you are trying to go to? So yeah, you're already doing it in a great way.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because, I did it before. I fell off the wagon, I sure did, but I recognized that was a mistake. I was feeling sorry for myself, my circumstances, and family issues, and it was like, and so I didn't carry forward, but I have come back. I almost quit about 6 months ago, 4 or 6 months ago. Joshua Berglund said, "Don't quit," and it's like, and I said to myself, I tell people don't quit, and yet I was going to quit because I was just tired of it, and I've been in the boat of, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Um, but then you better not complain about your situation when you do that, right?
Yerk has got a great philosophy. There's no failure, there's only feedback.
That's right.
And
Feedback.
if you're not attaining what you want, then allow that to be feedback. Don't look at it as a failure. Oh, I'm a failure. Oh my God, I wanted to accomplish this and I didn't accomplish this. Well, great. That's giving you feedback. Okay, what do I need to change, or what can I do differently in order to the next time I set out on this venture that I will have more success. And then maybe you still don't make it, but you've learned again. And that's the only reason, in my opinion, to use reflection of the past is to figure out what went right, what went wrong, what can I do. Another mentor of mine, a great, amazing network marketer in this industry, he says it's plan, do, check, and adjust. You plan it, you do it, you check the work, and then you adjust to it. And that's the same thing as saying there's no failure, there's only feedback.
I know that Thomas Edison responded to some guy, and he said, well, he was being asked, well, how come you failed 1,000 times or whatever the number is, and he said, no, I took. It took 1,000 steps to get where I am today. That's all.
Exactly.
Because he moved forward.
Right.
Yes, and it is a good philosophy because I guess with NLP, that's going back to the root of the problem of why do you feel that it would be a failure? Because that's what we were thinking, and that's what people said. So, okay, yeah, I'm a failure if I don't do this, and I didn't accomplish it. But it isn't. It is just that step.
And that's one of the things that this book will help you do as well. And a lot of people have written about that and written me private notes as well, is that it got them thinking differently.
That's the beautiful part. I remember saying years ago that a lot of the things that I thought, this is before I knew anything about NLP. I mean, I knew about CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, because they tried it on me, but it's got its good things too. But it's very clinical, as it is. But that's where NLP is not so clinical. It's more like, we're just going to show you how to live so that you can enjoy your everyday life. But I said, I realized most of the things I thought were true weren't. And if I was standing on the other side of the street looking back at myself, it's like, wow, I believe that. Is like, so I had to change a lot of thinking. And when I changed it, good things have happened, and that's why feel so blessed. And thank you for acknowledging.
I mean, when you think about it, Peter, we all got 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And you look at somebody like what's going to separate somebody from an Elon Musk to somebody that's doing the same 9-to-5 job that they've been doing for a long time, or the person that's out of work and can't find work. Right. What's the difference? We've all got the same amount of time, and it's just in how they think. They just think differently. And that's why it's so important to learn from other people how to make most efficient use of your 24 hours in a day. And your goal may not be to make $1 million. Your goal may be to be able to have a fulfilled life. And whatever that is for you, then that is success for you.
Excellent. So we only got a couple minutes left here. What would you suggest then for our viewers? Let's just say three things that they could apply to their life that would improve their situation, or give them some serenity, because I think we all enjoy serenity, and when we have it, it's a lot better than not. What would you tell the viewers?
I'm going to, and it's not just because I wrote this book,
right?
But this book is going to do that thing that I talked about, bring awareness. It's going to bring awareness to you. What's worked, what hasn't worked. It's going to help you understand yourself a little bit better than you did before you read the book. So don't just buy it, actually read it. All right. I think that is a great starting point. Especially if somebody is unsure where they want to be. The second step is to write it out. Oh, I don't have it here. Every single morning, I write out my vision of where I'm looking to go in life. Right now, that is centered around my Sealy by Design business, but it incorporates other aspects of it, right? Another thing that you can do to help, so I would do that, all right? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And just picture it in your mind, imagine it, right? There's a great book called Imagineering. You go a lot of different ways to figure out how to do that. Another thing I would do is start a what did I do right today journal. We're really good at beating ourselves up. We're very poor at rewarding ourselves of what we did well. Maybe you opened up the door for somebody, for an older lady, or you helped somebody, right? Those are things that you did right. Not only right for your business or you're right for your job or where you want to go in life, but just right overall for you, what you did right.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I love it. You're such a dynamic person, and I really appreciate you taking time to share with us today. Folks, you can come back. I'm doing the Get to Know show on Monday, and we're going to have Aaron and Veronica. I'm so glad that you came here, though. I dearly love you and Elke. You're wonderful people. You've taught me a lot. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me on. If anybody would like to reach out to me, I have a website. It's www.guybrilando.com. I'm on Facebook as well, so you can reach out to me through that. And I think I'm on Instagram, but I don't really use that so much. But that's my email is guybrilando@gmail.com. So pretty simple.
Excellent, excellent. It's going across the bottom of the screen, folks. Just go ahead, reach out to us if you have a question. Ask us. We're here to help you. And thank you, everybody, for taking time to watch this evening. We'll see you all soon. Have a good evening.
Awesome.
Bye for now.
Good to see you on here, Lauren and Rajesh. Nice. And thank you, Stephen, for the opportunity. And everybody
you
else
are welcome. Thank you for being here.
Right.
You have a good day.
Thank you, Steve. Bye-bye.
You bet. All righty. If I could answer, this will be in good shape, right?